Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to take a look at the QoR Mini Intensity Palette. I reviewed QoR paints in the past. The first set of QoR paints I ever bought were the tube set of 6, and they were the Intense selection, or High Chroma selection actually it was called. And I just fell in love, and then I ended up getting the other 6 tube trial sets. And then I got the 24 tube set, then I got a few open stock tubes, and they're really wonderful. And what I use my QoR paints most for is actually in my travel palettes, because they don't tend to travel. Ironically, they don't travel in my travel palettes. They stay put in their pans. They dry down really compactly. I feel like I get a lot of bang for my buck, and they work really well in my travel palettes. I like the exceptional flow I get from these in like the reaction in washes, but I have no problem controlling them in a more you know, drier techniques as well. So I think they're a wonderful paint. They're made in the United States of America by the Golden Company, and they really hit it out of the park with their watercolors. So when they came out with pan paints, I really wanted to try them, but the set of 12 was kind of pricey, around $60 or more for 12 half pans. Now that's not a really expensive price, honestly, if you're comparing against other artist grades, but I couldn't justify it since I had so many tubes already. But when I saw these mini sets on sale for under 22 bucks on Amazon, I decided to grab the Urban Sketch set, the Intensity set, and the Granulator set. I did not purchase the reflective set because I have a lot of metallic watercolors already, and I don't use them enough to justify that. But I was interested in these 3. So there is already a review of the Urban Sketch setup, which I highly recommend. That is on my channel, and I do plan on also reviewing the Granulator set. But what I really want to do with these paints, and that's upcoming, is that I want to compare the dried pans versus dried down tube paint and see how they reactivate, and see if there's really an advantage to buying these pans over the tubes, because oftentimes the tubes are cheaper in sets. So it's just, you know, I want to make sure we all have the information we need so we make the best purchases with our dollars. And all of the sets come in cute tins, so, you know, it doesn't really, you know, you don't really lose anything by buying the tubes, or so we will find out anyway. So we get a little box that has this little opening flap. The packaging is beautiful. Didn't really matter because I bought it online, but I could see that being very cute to open up in a store, so nice. I like attention to detail like that. I bet you could recycle this into something really cute too. If you're like an altered art person, I think you could do something really cute with that. Make a little card, maybe cut a little window out of it, cut decoupage on it. There are possibilities there. You get, with all of the core sets I've ever purchased, you get like a swatch card, and it gives you all of the colors that are available. Now, I have a hunch to why these have been cheap on Amazon. I think that QoR might be revamping their sets. So on Blick, if you look at the Urban Sketch set, instead of listing Payne's Gray, it lists neutral tint, and mine has a Payne's Gray in it. I know on the Granulator set, it contains a color that's going to be discontinued this year, the Ultramarine Pink, and the pamphlet, the information in here has the older colors. It has discontinued colors on it, and it doesn't have the 20 new colors. So they may just be clearancing stuff to get new product out with new packaging. So it might be a good time to keep your eyes peeled for good prices on QoR paint. Just saying. I don't know for a fact. I don't work there, but that's my guess. It comes with a lovely swatch card. I believe it's cotton paper. It acts like it. And these are the colors swatched out. And there's room for 6 more colors there. Now the tin is hinged, and I'm trying to think, I think the other tins that I have from QoR, the lid is completely separate. So it's basically what you prefer, honestly. But for a travel tin, I think you definitely want the tin, the thing attached, so that you can like not lose it and not have to juggle so many things. The metal part cleans up really well. The white silicone insert here does stain. So you'll see if I remove these half pans, the empty ones, you'll see that the silicone here is an insert. You could pull this out. You could take out the pans and pull out the silicone if you wanted to. It doesn't appear to be glued in at all, but it does seem to be nice and high quality, nice and thick in the middle. But I think you could probably fit an extra 10 half pans in here if you took the middle out, or maybe 6 full pans. Let me take a full pan and put it in there and see. Oh yeah, you definitely could get a row of full pans in there if you wanted to as well. So just something to think about. You have some options there, and I like that. But I generally prefer a limited palette, especially when traveling. It just, you know, it's less to think about, less choices to make. And the colors in here do mix really well, although they're not what I would typically choose as a mixing palette, but that's something I kind of like. I like that, I don't know, I like fun, funky palettes. So I'm gonna set that there. I did prepare a piece of watercolor paper with a black stripe so we could see how transparent these are. The first color we have, oh, I can tell you the colors on the back. We've got Hansa Yellow Light, we got, and that's PY3, Transparent Pyrrole Orange, that's PO71, Quinacridone Magenta, PR122, Dioxazine Purple, also known as Dioxazine Violet, PV23, Cerulean Blue Chromium, which is so beautiful in skies, PB36:1, and Phthalo Turquoise, which is the only mix in the set, and that's PB15:3 plus PG7. Honestly, I think, well, I don't know. It's a pretty color. I was thinking probably an ultramarine blue. I've added an ultramarine blue to this set myself. I'm not going to second guess their choices because I've painted with this and I love everything I've painted with it. And there's our Hansa Yellow Light, or Hansa Yellow Light. This is a gorgeous orange. And when you mix it with the magenta, you get a very beautiful red. It's so transparent, it's so vibrant. Then we got our Quinacridone Magenta. Super transparent, super intense. All these colors live up to their name of being intense. The purple, you have to be careful on the purple because if you get too much, it's just going to look black because it's so vivid, it's so strong. And I did have some QoR, I still have some QoR Dioxazine Violet in my travel palette, and I don't think I'll ever use it up because a little goes so far. The Cerulean Blue is the only one I would say isn't that intense. Like, I'm surprised they didn't put like a phthalo blue and a phthalo green if they wanted like truly the intense colors, but this is a gorgeous like aqua green color. This it reminds me of Winsor Newton's aqua green, this phthalo green. But because it's a mix, it's like it seems like it would make more sense. But then you wouldn't have any granulating colors in here, and I think having a granulating like a cerulean is kind of fun to have in there. Anyway, the other thing I want to do with this is test the movement, so I'm just going to wet some fresh water here. I'm going to wet a big square and we are going to dab the colors in and watch them roam. Now water follows the path of least resistance, so if you want a lot of movement, you want your paper wet but your brush drier. Like the brush will have a drier bit of paint and it will kind of, the water on the paper will grab it, will grab the color. So let's start with some yellow. There's some movement. It's not a crazy amount of movement. I'll put a little bit more water in there. It's not a crazy amount. It's not a crazy amount of movement. Not like I've had in the past. Ooh, that orange is really going. Let's give the yellow another try. Maybe I had my brush a little too dry. It's going a little bit better now. I save these little swatch cards that I make and stuff, and I use them as embellishments on cards. And I'll do like a big batch of what I call artsy-fartsy cards. This purple really knocks your socks off. It is like, hold on to your hummus, we are bright. Use with care. It'll last you a lifetime. That one pan's gonna last you a lifetime. I don't expect that one to flow quite so much because it is a more mineral base. It's a mineral based color. It's just going to be a heavier consistency. This is a surprising color because it makes some really interesting mixes. I'll show you that in a second. So there's a decent amount of movement there, but you can see how vibrant those colors are. Very sheer, very strong. You don't see any sort of scaliness or fillers or chalk or anything in them. They're really, really beautiful paint. If the staining bothers you, I would say you might just want to put magnets on the back of your pans and remove the silicone and, you know, because the white seems to clean up really well. I didn't use any special cleaners, just a wet paper towel, and it cleaned out really well. Okay, now on to the artwork that I created with this. I found another one too. I've done 3 paintings with them so far. This one was my first use of them, and I just started to play on this cotton paper. This is the Meeden cotton paper, and I think it worked well. Everything blended well. I didn't get any mud. I was able to mix a brown. I used the purple and yellow to mix a brown. That worked out really well. Also, the orange and blue, a little bit of the turquoise worked well to make a brown. So you can make nice, really rich neutrals if you want to, but I don't think you're going to accidentally make mud, which is really nice. So yeah, and I just added some like modeling paste over it, and I used a fountain pen to do some sketching in there. So it was just a fun project. This will probably be up on my YouTube channel by the time this review goes live. If you want to check it out, it's a fun one. And then I also did this little peach. This was for my colored pencil workshop. I was doing some mixed media techniques, and this was just showing laying down watercolor first and adding colored pencil over it, but I used it for the base. And not being used to this particular set, it was a little bit of challenging because the colors were so bright to like temper them down. So just keep in mind, these might take a little getting used to if you're not used to using such vibrant colors. And then I did a painting this morning that I actually did a mixing chart too, but first the painting I did this morning. So I was able to neutralize things so that I could get that kind of like sun-bleached look of, you know, this little family playing on the beach. I took a photo when I was out. I just took tons of photos in Belfast last weekend, and there were tons of kids out on the beach with their families. It was so sweet. And so I was just taking stealthy shots of everybody playing on the beach. I know it sounds creepy, but and then I just like sketched this morning, and it was a lot of fun. So this is the mixing chart that I did. So I took each 6 colors times each 6 colors, like a times table, and down the center would be the colors in their mass tone. And then if you look down each row, I've mixed the 2 colors together where they intersect, but I just have a favoring of the colors on the top row. So you'll have, for every 2 color mix, this cat hair on there, for every 2 colors you mix together, you'll have one they'll have more of the top, more of each color, you know what I mean? So like all the colors in this row have a heavier amount of yellow. All the colors in this one have a heavier amount of orange, and so on and so forth. So you get twice as many variations of your color mixes. So if you have purple plus orange, this is it with more purple, and then this would be it with, let's see, purple plus orange. And then to have the one that was more orange plus purple would be right there. So those are the same 2 mixes, but just more purple there, more orange there. Does that make sense? Because you do it like a times table. And then over here, because 2 color mixes are great and all, but in order to get like kind of some really interesting neutrals, you need to mix 3 or more colors. So that's what I did over here. Love that green. That was orange and yellow and turquoise. So it just was much richer, much more interesting. This Cerulean Plus, I think I might have used some of that left over in my brush with Cerulean there, maybe a little more orange to make this kind of granity or this stony color. Purple just completely overtook that mixture because it's so intense. So then I tried again with some orange and some Cerulean Blue. And I mean, you can just see these were the 3 primaries. Really easy to make neutrals, also easy to make really clean, vibrant mixes. So very happy with this. I think these core mini sets so far, the Urban Sketch, the Intensity, they both just knocked my socks off, and I'm so glad that I picked them up. I'm really happy with the price I paid as well. So speaking of prices, I just looked before I started filming this, and of course things can change because if there are a lot of palettes out there that are being discontinued, then there may be a bunch more of cheap palettes to come. When I first spotted these for cheap, it was probably like a month ago, and I think they were down as low as $18, and I didn't buy them, and I kind of regretted it. So when I saw them come back at around 20, then, or 21, I'm like, I'm grabbing them. So there's some fluctuation. Blick has them every day of the week for $35. The list price on this is $54.99. So that's kind of high, honestly. I gotta say that's high. But I would say, like, for the Urban Sketch palette, if I was vacationing, I didn't have any paint with me, and I wanted to paint, I would pay $55 for the Urban Sketch one. This one's not as useful to me. It doesn't have quite the charm of the Urban Sketch one, but I still think it's an excellent palette, and I don't think one is better than the other. I just think it's more of a preference thing. But for 22 bucks, oh yeah, any day of the week, I think that's a solid steal. Even for 35, that's not bad for the quality of the paint, in my opinion. So you may be wondering, what is the equivalent of a half pan of paint? There's a lot of disagreement about this, but in my opinion, and from some manufacturers even, a half pan of solid paint. Now this has been compressed into like a little chunk. These are little loose chunks. Actually, I can probably show you on the granulating side, 'cause I haven't used that one yet. That's next on the docket. I'll have to mix it with other stuff though, because on its own, I don't think I would use it just on its own, but this is how they come anyway. They come with a swatch card in there and a little sheet of glassine to protect it. But these are extruded pans. And maybe this one will be loose enough to see if I can get, see, they're little extruded pans. And that is made by them being compressed. And so a half pan should have an equivalent amount of paint to a 5 ml tube. So I just wanted to put that. A lot of people think that 5 ml tubes have more paint in them because you can fill a half pan twice. But if you filled it and you let it shrink and you fill it and let it shrink and fill it, let it shrink, that's going to use up most of a 5 ml tube of paint in my experience. And they wear down faster because the pigment is not compressed. When I buy a paint that is made by liquid pouring, like a Rosa Gallery, White Nights, Schminke, those wear down way faster than pans by like Winsor & Newton, these QoR paints, Sennelier, other extruded pans. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a little margin of error, but it's generally a half pan is equivalent to a 5 ml tube. And you can even, that's even what Winsor & Newton says when they're saying their half pan equivalency, and I would believe it because that's my experience. Half pans that have been extruded last way longer. But anyway, they still do sell the 6 tube sets, the 12 tube sets, the 24 tube sets. I think those are a fantastic bargain as well, generally. So yeah, I was just excited to see the tins that cheap because the half pans have not been that cheap. The half pans have been more than the tube equivalents. So I wanted to try them out, and I'm really glad that I did. And just keep your eyes peeled for that video where I put the pans and the tubes side by side. I have all my tube colors dried out. They've been dried out for a long time. We're going to compare them and see how they perform next to the pre-made pans that we can buy. I suspect there's not going to be a heck of a lot of a difference, honestly, but you never know until you do it. And I will be doing it live on camera, and you will be able to see for yourself. But there you have it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment and I will help you if I can. If you've tried these, let me know what you think about this set. I mean, look how vibrant these colors are. I had this outside and they were like blinding. It was really funny how vibrant they are. But they're all using our customary pigments. They have pretty good light fast ratings. If I look here, it's funny how they do their light fastness because sometimes, like Hansa Yellow Light, it says Light Fast 2, which would be like ASTM 1 is excellent, 2 is very good, 3 and higher are fugitive. So they have Light Fast 2 for Hansa Yellow Light. They have Light Fast Good for transparent Pyrrole Orange instead of the ASTM number, which is, so I'm not sure. With Quinacridone Magenta, they have Light Fast Excellent. For Dioxazine Purple, they have Light Fast Excellent. For Cerulean Blue, they have Light Fast 1, which is excellent. And then for Phthalo Turquoise, they have Light Fast 2, which is good. So I don't know if what I suspect is, because it's golden, I suspect that they did their light fast testing independently and then they assigned what they thought was more accurate because there's been a big kind of scuttlebutt about Hansa Yellow Light, which was always considered an excellent light fast color until recently. They've been saying that, or a rep from Goldenson, they're not getting the same results of light fastness from Hansa Yellow from recent batches than they did back in the day. So I think that they may preempt the ASTM ratings if they don't think that pigment is quite as highly rated, excuse me, as the ASTM says. So pardon me, my goodness gracious, I'm getting all froggy. But anyway, that's just my opinion. You know what that's worth, right? We all have. But anyway, I hope you found this helpful. I've been so enjoying using these watercolors, and I hope you can find the deal that I found on them, because at that price, I think it's a no-brainer. If you're going to pay more than that, then obviously, you know, I mean, no matter what you're going to pay for it, ask yourself if you're going to use it, if it's something that will bring value to your life, add value to your artwork, and if something you like. I love mini palettes that have been where somebody else has picked the colors. I find that extraordinarily fun, charming, and challenging to work with. And yeah, and these have been very fun. And well, there you have it. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoy my reviews. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye!